it's Mike and Jamie from Agritourismideas.com here today to show you how to build a duck race.
You may wonder why we even build something like a duck race. If you have an agritourism venue, you're going to know that there are a lot of people that need to do a lot of different things, and a duck race provides some things to do. Perhaps if you're waiting for a hayride or something else to go on and you want to fill some time, it's a great way to get your kids and your families involved in something that's a lot of fun.
Now there's a lot of different design ideas and attempts out there to build the duck race. We're going to build ours out of common materials such as pressure treated lumber and pumps. You can get quality pumps off Amazon, that sort of thing. We're not going to do anything crazy hard from a design standpoint, so pretty much anybody that follows this video, our hope is that you'll be able to do it as well.
The first thing we're going to show you today is how to build the frame, because there needs to be something that supports the pumps. And as we go along, you'll see that those pumps reach down into the water to be able to pump the water out. But we need to build some kind of a frame, so we need to know what our tank size is. This particular tank is roughly 6 feet, and we'll tell you later there are going to be some times that you may want to use an 8-foot tank. But this one's 6, so we're going to measure in 2 spots. We're going to measure the width. This one is about 26.5 with a little bit of leeway, and it's about 74 in length with a little bit of leeway. We leave a little space once we build our frame so that there's some movement that we can get it on and off more easily.
All right, so now we're going to head over to the saw and we're going to start building our frame.
All right, we're ready to cut. As you see, we have here is a 2x4. This is going to make the outside frame. Now, we measured the tank, and our measurements that we took from the tank are going to be the inside dimensions of our frame. It's got to fit around that, and at one point at the end we have to make them 3 inches longer to accommodate for the tank. Now we'll show you that when we get to that point. We're going to use a 12-footer. We're going to be able to get 3 of our boards out of this, so when you're measuring and designing your frame for your tank, just buy as little wood as possible, so get as many cuts as you can out of each board.
Alright, so we have our boards cut and laid out so that the tank will fit, this will fit around the tank. So we're going to tack this together, and then we're going to go cut some 2x6s and a 2x8 that'll act as the top where we will mount the pumps. So we're going to put this together and then we'll go from there.
Alright, we need to make the rest of our cuts for our frame. What we have done already would simply fall over the top of the tank, so we need something on the top that keeps that up, as well as something that we attach the pumps to. So we have a couple boards here. One's a 2x8 that we'll use on the edge of the tank where the pumps are going to mount. The other one is a 2x6, and that will complete the rest of the frame. So we're going to make those cuts now, then we'll show you how this all ties together.
Alright, so our top boards are cut, as Mike said. The 2x8 is where the pumps get mounted, and we have 2x6s for the rest. We are going to have an inch overhang all the way around, and we'll tell you later why we do that, but there's a specific reason for that. So we've cut these boards to have an inch overhang all the way around, and we'll have the dimensions in our materials list and how-to guide that'll be attached to this video. So he's got his first screw in that corner. Before we go any further, you got to make sure this is square, otherwise it won't fit over your tank when you're all said and done. So use a square or speed square of some sort and put it into the corner, and make sure that your box is nice and square before you proceed. So we are going to go ahead, I'm going to get this square, put a screw in this side, then you're going to see us put the rest of the boards all the way around, and then we'll move on to mounting this to the tank next. So here we go.
framed out the top side of our pump frame. This is the 2x8 here. This is where the pumps are going to be installed. The one down there is the 2x6. So we're going to show you now how this fits over the top of the tank.
Alright, so that makes a nice snug fit over the top of your tank. Next thing we're going to do is lay out where our pumps are going to go, because that's the next step in the process. So we're going to show you how to lay them out and drill the holes and that sort of thing. So here we go. Alright, so now we're ready to start figuring out where the pumps have to go. What we're going to start talking about here is based on the recommended pumps that we suggest, which is a good Simmons pump. We'll have the link on our website. This particular one has the outlet. We have to be 3.5 inches away from the front in order to have the clearance for the pipe that sucks the water. So based on that, and since this stock tank is curved, you want to figure out where you still have 3.5 inches and spread that out from there. So we've determined that our first pump's going to be here. We're going to do the same thing at this end and then split the difference with the other two pumps, and that'll have them evenly spaced at that point. So here we go. So we've made our marks. Let me tell you what we did here. We determined that we still had, even with the curve of the tank, the necessary 3.5 inches back in order to get our pipe in here at about the 13.5 inch mark. So we made those marks at both ends, and then we split the difference for the other two so that our pumps are going to be evenly spaced. So you'll see that we used a speed square to draw a line down, and then we used a chalk line 2.5 inches down from the top, which is where we need to be for our center hole cut in order for our pipes to go down. So we now have our marks. We know where our pumps are going to be mounted. The next step is we're going to use a hole saw to drill some holes for the pipes to make their way down through. So here we go.
All right, we've got all our holes drilled and they're ready for the pumps. Now when you pick up your pump, if you don't use it, we recommend a Simmons, but if you use something else, you're going to have to check your thread on the bottom. In this particular case, we found these adapters. They can be found at any hardware store, Home Depot, whatever. And they're going to thread right into the bottom of the pump. Now we've used some Teflon tape on the threads, mainly because we want that to be as airtight as possible, because pumps work on the flow of the water has to be consistent, and if you're sucking any air anywhere, it's not going to do well. So thread this in as tight as you can. Probably your hand is good enough, and you can see the adapter is now threaded. It's ready to receive the pipe. We're using an 1.25 inch pipe, just PVC, and like any other PVC, you need to use a cleaner. In this case, it's the purple cleaner. You're going to use enough that's going to fit into your adapter. After your PVC cleaner is on, you're going to use your PVC glue. You're going to glue right where you did your primer, and then your pipe is going to go right into the bottom of the adapter. Again, this is what's going to go into your tank, down into the water, and draw the water back up into your pump. I'm going to show you where these go into these holes, but before we actually mount them, we're going to show you something else. But these are going to drop right down into these holes. And right now they're about 2 or 3 inches off the bottom of the tank in order to draw water up. And in a little while we're going to show you how to mount these. But for now, we're going to flip this frame over. We're going to show you something that we recommend you do with the bottom of this frame. Alright, we flipped the frame up on edge sitting on the tank now so that you can see it better, but we want to tell you what we were thinking you should do on the bottom of this. This is chicken wire, and we're going to stretch this out on the bottom of this frame and staple it really well, because when this is upside or right side up on the tank again, oftentimes you'll get debris, leaves, maybe even trash from your guests trying to throw things into these tanks. And if your duct falls off, it doesn't go down into the tank. It will stay up on top of this chicken wire. So from the top side, you'll see some chicken wire when we're done. On the bottom side, it's going to look nice and neat because it's tucked up under here. It's stapled very well. And we're going to do this again before we put our pumps in. We want to get this nice and tight and flat in here. And again, it's just a debris catcher. It's to keep all the stuff out of the tank so that it doesn't need to be cleaned constantly. So we'll show you in the next stage how to attach this and how to make it look good.
So now we've got the wire mesh on, and again, that stops your ducts from falling in there, stops kids from splashing each other, debris getting in there, all kinds of purposes for that. That's why we highly recommend you put that on yours as well. We've also went ahead, all 4 pumps now have the adapters and the 24-inch pipe attached to it. Since this is a 2-foot water trough, we did the 24-inch downspout for it. And so basically, we're ready to mount the pumps. These particular pumps have 3 holes, 2 up front, 1 in back. And the way they fall on our design, what we're going to do is we're going to drill down through and use quarter-inch bolts down through the front. Because there's not a lot of meat, you could try to screw them down, but they may not last as long as if you were to bolt the front. The back we are going to screw down because we have the 2x4 underneath it, so we can get a good 2.5, 3-inch screw all the way down in and have plenty of meat to grab to. So front 2 will be bolts on our design, back will be a screw. So we're going to go ahead and do that as our next step, and then we'll take it from there. So here we go. All right, well now we have one of our troughs set up and ready to go, and of course for duck races you need 2 of them. So we're going to go ahead and get the other one set up, and then we're going to show you how to cut the PVC pipe that you're going to need for the troughs for the ducks to race down. So here we go. All right, well now we're on to the step where we need to make the troughs that run in between the pumps and between the water troughs for the ducks to race down. We're using 4-inch PVC in this case. I have seen other designs that use regular white gutter. That probably works fine. It's just not going to be as durable as this 4-inch PVC. This is bulletproof. It'll last you for years. Even in cold weather, it won't crack, that sort of thing, unless it really gets hit hard. So we're going to start by cutting this pipe in half, and we'll use each half for one of the duck troughs. We've made little scrap wood blocks here that we're going to attach to our sawhorse to keep the pipe from rolling on us. Then you'll see a string of chalk line. And for us cutting this, we're actually going to use a grinder. We feel that it gets the straightest cut. We've tried some other things like a skill saw, jigsaw, those sort of things. They do work, but you tend to get more uneven cuts with those. So you'll see us use a grinder for this, and you'll see us flip it, cut the other side, and then it'll end up with our 2 troughs. So here we go. So we've done one cut on our PVC pipe here, and what we did initially was we looked for the high point on both sides, struck a line, and that's good enough for the first cut. And you'll also notice that Mike did 2 passes with a grinder. The first pass was to score the line that he wanted to cut. The second line pass he cut through the pipe, and that's what we recommend as well. Now we're going to need to figure out the top part. This you don't really want to eye up. You want to make sure you get it right. The circumference of this 4-inch PVC pipe is 14¼ inches. So I'm going to take a tape measure and measure around 7 1/8. So the way I do that is I put my fist in here and just flex to get the tape measure into that gap. And I'm going to take this around and make a mark up here right at 7 1/8. And that tells us where our halfway point is to make our final cut. So we're going to do the same thing on the other end, make another cut, and then we'll take you to how we're going to mount these to the pump. So here we go. Alright, so now you'll see we have both tanks set up, 4 pumps on either side, and we've got our troughs ready to go, but now we're going to attach them permanently so they don't move. So that's going to be our next step, and we'll take you through how we do that. So here we go. Alright, now it's time to mount the troughs to the pumps, and in our experience we found you lose less water and they're most stable if you mount them right to the bottom of the pump. So that's what we're going to show you how to do here today. You're going to need a drill with a 1/4-inch bit. You're going to drill down through the water spout and through your trough. Alright, now we've already pre-drilled this particular one, and so once you have that hole drilled, you're going to have a 1.5-inch carriage bolt with a wing nut, and we use wing nuts just so it's easy to get it on and off for maintenance and for on your end for assembly. And if we were to mount it just like that right now, you'll get some backflow of water if they pump it real hard. So to prevent some of that, what we're going to do is we're going to take some cove base, rubber cove base. You can buy a 4-foot strip at Home Depot for like $1.25. We're going to cut it up into little sections. We're going to bend it over to kind of make a rubber washer, and we're going to insert this here to keep that water from backflowing down the pump and wasting water. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. And take this, we're going to fold it. I've already pre-cut some holes for the bolt to go through. I'm going to push it down in, and I'm going to have the fold forward, so you've got the rise in the back, and we're going to put it on the trough. Use the wing nut. Be careful not to drop it in the water trough. That's very easy to do. And you're going to crank it up nice and tight. And that is what we found to be the least expensive way to keep that backflow from happening. You can use end caps, but a 4-inch end cap can run you as much as $10 each. And so you can do everything for $1.25 rather than spending $80. So we're saving a little bit money that way. And once you're tight, ready to go, pretty much your trough is ready to roll. All right, so that piece is done. We're going to go around, do the rest, and then we're going to come back and talk about the other end next. All right, all the pumps are mounted. One other thing we like to do to secure the end of the trough that's going, the duct's coming down, simply take an 1 5/8 screw, put it right down through, and that's not going anywhere. And the hole is towards the end, so if there's any seepage through, it does make it back into the tank. All right, next we're going to talk about how to take your duck race to the next level by building a nice looking box around it that'll make it look more professional. And then we're going to wrap up with some tips and tricks on how to keep these things running well and to keep them from jamming up all the time. So let's start by building that box. Okay, you will see that we've now built a structure around the entire duck race. And the reason for this is we believe it's best to have a barrier to keep kids from crawling under here or hanging from the water troughs. Just keeps things more safe and secure. At the same time, it gives you the ability to make it look more professional and more like a permanent structure. Real easy to add this on. Pretty much you're just going to get this top measurement from end to end. That's going to be how long your bottom board's going to be. Then you're going to add these scabs to the inside here so that you have something to attach this board to. And then the inside diameter between the two troughs is how long this board's going to be. You'll notice way back at the beginning, we had you do an overhang here, and that's for this purpose. So you can put on T111 or plywood or whatever, and it's up under this overhang. It makes it look more finished and more professional. The uprights, you want to try to keep everything consistent at a 24-inch or slightly less all the way down. And depending on where your seams are going to be, that's going to depend on where your braces are. So that is pretty much how we put this structure together. It is free floating, sitting right on the ground, so if you have level solid surface, that works fine. If this is going to be something that you'll never move, you might consider just sinking 4x4 posts and making your structure out of that. In the past, we've used T111 as well as painted plywood. We're going to throw on something that looks even a little more professional than that, and we'll come back as soon as we have that on. All right, so here's the final product. You'll see that what we've put on the side of our duck race is a very professional and fun-looking duck race sign. These are going to be available on our site. We also love the hand-painted sides, but they're so cost-prohibitive. We came up with a kind of a do-it-yourself sign kit that'll be a fraction of the price of some of those hand-painted signs and really give duck race and other events a real professional look. You get them for both sides or the ends or that sort of thing. Now we're going to move into talking about some of the, where you locate this, some of the maintenance types of things. Go ahead, Mike.
One thing you want to keep in mind is when you locate your duck race, there's several things to remember. You want it to be level, so if that means bringing in a machine or some shovels, some manual labor, get your tanks level so that they sit properly, they drain properly, things like that. Also, don't put them, we have it under a tree. You don't want to do that when you have it on your site because you're going to be constantly battling leaves and debris falling in, as well as things around it are important. Don't put it near sand, or maybe you have a corn crib, something like that. Don't put it where kids can grab something and bring it over and put it in your tank. All this stuff will need to be cleaned eventually, so you want to make sure you're not putting it in a place like that. Also remember that when you place these, it may be a good thing to keep them in a traffic area. Maybe they're waiting for a hayride, something like that, where they're going to be used readily, effectively, and often. So put this in an area where kids are hanging out, families are hanging out, maybe they're waiting for something. That's always a good thing to do.
Also, keep in mind the location of the drain plugs on your tanks, because throughout the course of the year, as the tanks get dirty, the cleaner you keep the water, the longer the pumps will last and the more maintenance-free they will be. So you may have a reason to have them in towards the center or out. Just keep that in mind when you go to fill your tanks up, that you have the drain plugs in the right location. Also, we didn't demonstrate in the video, but after you cut these, run down a buffing wheel or sandpaper or something. Just take all the little sharp edges off this to make sure those are safe as well. Any other maintenance things that you can think of, or have we covered it all?
I think we got it.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps up the how to build a duck race video. If you go to our website, not only will you find this video, but you'll find the ducks we recommend, the pumps we recommend, the troughs we recommend, that sort of thing. All the signage we talked about. And if you'd prefer just to purchase one of these rather than build one yourself, we will also be selling our design. We will build, manufacture, ship those out to you as well. We appreciate you joining us today. For other how-to videos and resources and blog posts and podcasts, go to agritourismideas.com, and we'll catch you next time.